We have the basic timeline of when this new electric pickup truck is coming to Australia. We know the electric version now is coming in the fourth quarter of this year. We don't know when the plug-in hybrid version is coming, which I know many of you will be interested in simply because of the fact that if you've got a pickup truck, sometimes you will need that additional range for certain, if you're doing a lot of towing, for example. So that means, guys, there is an electric version coming this year I'm going to estimate probably about October. We know the pricing for this vehicle, for the electric one. We don't know the pricing for the plug-in hybrid or when the plug-in hybrid will be delivered. But when I was in China and we had a conversation with the VP at Geely, it does sound like they are planning on bringing the plug-in hybrid version of this truck, as well as the electric version. This is a legitimate rival in many ways to the BYD Shark. Remember, this vehicle has been changed. When it was originally launched, guys, when I made my original videos, the vehicle has been changed and improved since then. Here are the details on what we know so far. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. I'm just looking at my hair. I think my hair's going grey. Hopefully not. Hopefully not quite yet, but maybe. So anyway, back to the real story here, guys. I'm going to talk about the electric version in just a minute. Let's have a quickly look at the plug-in hybrid version, because this will be a clear, direct rival to the BYD Shark. This was unveiled at the Shanghai Auto Show, which I unfortunately wasn't able to attend. I was actually in China a bit before that, but because of my family situation, I couldn't stay in China long enough to attend the show. But I did see that Geely has revealed this plug-in hybrid. It has 1,000 kilometers of range. Approximately. It has a 3-speed dedicated hybrid transmission. It uses Geely's it's an interesting hybrid concept, very unique to Geely. And it sounds like it would actually be ideal for this type of vehicle. It's actually built on the MAP platform, and it's called a super hybrid pickup. It's going to use Geely's new Thor EM hybrid system, which means you can obviously drive on fully electric range only, or you can drive it as well. You can use the fuel as well. So the system has the industry's first 3DHT transmission architecture for pickup trucks. The idea, guys, is to have low range. So the BYD Shark I just saw one yesterday. I think it's a great vehicle, incredibly good value for money. But one of the things people would like to have in the Shark is low range. So a lot of people, when they buy a pickup truck, they want to have low range in order to do four-wheel driving. And that's what this will have, the ability, because of this 3-speed transmission, to have low range and high range. After extensive testing, Geely say the vehicle has passed China's S-grade hybrid system reliability certification, which includes over 1,000 powertrain bench tests, 4,000 hours of test time, and 40 million kilometers of vehicle endurance driving tests, which is pretty exhaustive. So the hybrid system will use a 1.5-litre turbo engine, and in combination with its battery power, it will primarily rely on battery power for actually going forwards. It actually will be capable of doing 0 to 100 in a similar time to the BYD Shark, 6.5 seconds. That's really fast. That's way faster than, for example, a Ford Ranger Raptor, much, much faster than a Ranger Raptor. And I think this is actually a really cool vehicle. It has a thermal efficiency, the engine, of 44.26%, which is actually pretty damn incredible. Now, apparently, the intelligent energy management reduces fuel consumption by 21% compared to traditional gasoline pickup trucks. So this could be a really good vehicle for people who want to do off-road driving, maybe towing a lot of weight, maybe you're towing a caravan kind of thing. Then could be a really good option. Now, for me personally, I'd probably prefer the fully electric version, and it has been confirmed that version is coming to Australia. Pricing, I think we can actually estimate the pricing, and pretty accurately, in fact, very accurately. The reason I say that is because the price of the Geely EX5 in Thailand is pretty much the same price, almost exactly the same price as what it costs here in Australia. And we know the price of the Riddara RD6 in Thailand. So we can pretty easily guess, I think, pretty accurately what the price is going to be. In Thailand, the price starts at $42,000 for the base model. And the base model has a 63 kilowatt hour battery, $42,000, 63 kilowatt hour battery. Now, that's not going to be ideal for everyone, but I think that's really good value. Even if it came in at $45,000, that would still be really good. However, the all-wheel drive flagship version, which gets an 86 kilowatt hour battery, that costs 60,000 Australian dollars in Thailand. So it's probably going to be about a similar price here in Australia. That would mean it will be, let's be honest, the first realistically priced pickup truck that's fully electric in Australia and has a decent amount of range. So how big is the Riddara? Well, it is actually not one of the biggest pickup trucks. It's 5,260 millimeters long. So it's a similar size to a Toyota Hilux, but it doesn't have a ladder chassis. Guys, all these pickup trucks, people often complain. I've seen people complaining about the ride in the BYD Shark, and I say to them, no, guys, the ride in the BYD Shark, it uses coil springs. It's way more comfortable than for example, a Toyota Hilux or most pickup trucks on the market. But the truth is, pickup trucks use a ladder frame chassis, and therefore they pretty much all have not a particularly comfortable ride. Some are a bit better than others, but they're not all that comfortable. Now, this does not. This is a car chassis. So it's derived from a platform that you can use for big electric SUVs. So that's one of the reasons why this will be a different vehicle to drive. It's still more like a daily driver with the practicality of being able to put stuff in your tray. And that's going to be a big change for people. Going, well, okay, well, I'm actually driving a pickup truck, which is comfortable to drive. So dimensions of the tub. Actually, it's slightly smaller than a Ranger tub, but not a big difference. 1,525 millimeters long. So about 1.5 meters long, 1,425 millimeters wide, and 540 millimeters high. Meaning it's actually the same depth than versus a Ford Ranger, but slightly smaller in terms of the actual length. Not much different though. I'd say about 5% different. Entry-level models get a 200 kilowatt, 385 newton meter rear electric motor. That's with the 63 kilowatt hour battery. But I didn't mention, guys, there's also a 73 kilowatt hour battery. That's like the mid-spec model. Both of them rear-wheel drive lithium iron phosphate batteries. I believe it's the Geely short blade battery. And that battery is actually, I don't know if the platform can handle this, the architecture, but the battery can theoretically actually handle 900 kilowatt fast charging. Theoretically, not the actual platform, but the battery itself. I'm not sure what the platform is yet that we're going to see in Australia. Anyhow, lab testing, NEDC for the base model, 373 kilometers. So you're looking at about 350 kilometers WLTP for the base model. Then the mid-spec model gets 461 kilometers NEDC, which means probably about 435 kilometers WLTP. Not too bad. Now, pay the extra, pay your 60,000 Australian dollars, which Americans, that's about 40,000 US. In fact, just a little bit less than that. And you're getting all-wheel drive, 315 kilowatt. This is obviously not a hybrid. This is just fully electric power. This is going to feel really fast. 315 kilowatt and 600 newton meters of torque. That comes with either the 73 kilowatt hour battery, which is the LFP golden blade or the golden brick battery, the short Aegis battery, short blade battery, and that has 424 kilometers of NEDC range, so about 400 kilometers of range for the all-wheel drive. Now, get what I think would be the most popular option here in Australia, the 86 kilowatt hour battery option, and you're looking at 455 kilometers of NEDC range, so probably about 420 kilometers of range for the all-wheel drive version of this truck. 420 kilometers of range and 315 kilowatt of power. So, nearly 500 horsepower and 420 kilometers of range with the all-wheel drive model. For $60,000, I think this would sell incredibly well. Guys, Geely, if you're watching, I think this is going to be a massive hit. If you price this right, if you price it similarly to what you've priced it in Thailand, people in Australia are going to absolutely love this. Not just Australia, but I think other countries will too. Now, speaking of towing, what can it tow? It's not rated to tow what a lot of utes are rated at. It's rated at 2,500 kilograms, which is exactly the same as the BYD Shark. So 2,500 kilograms, 2.5 tons. And it also, however, that is just for the rear-wheel drive model. So the all-wheel drive model can tow 3,000 kilograms. 3,000 kilograms for the all-wheel drive model. And it also sits a little bit higher than the rear-wheel drive model, so it's more capable of off-road driving. It's about 10 millimeters higher. and it has apparently off-road driving modes as well. Now, rear-wheel drive, you can go into water at a depth of 50 centimeters, not particularly deep, that's 500 millimeters, but I think the all-wheel drive version, you'll be able to get into deeper water than that. Payload is actually remarkably heavy. I don't know how this is possible. It's 1,030 kilogram payload, which is heavier than the payload for every single one of its rivals. There is no other pickup truck remotely similar to this with a payload that heavy. And considering it doesn't use a ladder frame chassis, I don't know how they've pulled this off. That's a remarkable achievement. So how fast is it? Well, the all-wheel drive version is incredibly quick. It'll do 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds. The rear-wheel drive version, 7.3 seconds. Now, guys, any car doing 4.5 seconds, 0 to 100 is ridiculous. But doing this in a pickup truck, we've never seen this in Australia before. We've never, ever seen this kind of performance in a pickup truck. This thing is just, it's basically like a performance vehicle as well as a pickup truck. So what about charging? Charging, not so good, unfortunately. We've actually found out what it is. Charging speed for the small battery pack is 90 kilowatt. That's for the 63 kilowatt hour battery. The 73 kilowatt hour battery is 110 kilowatt. And the 86 kilowatt hour battery is only 100 kilowatt charging. I don't really understand why, because the batteries are rated for much more than that. But anyway, that's what's come from Geely. That means charging time is 32 minutes, 30 minutes, and 32 minutes respectively. But that's not 20 to 80% or 10, that's 30 to 80%. So the one problem, well, not problem, but the one downside to this vehicle is the charging speed. What about features? Well, it does come with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got a 14.6-inch touchscreen and a 10.25-inch instrument display, dual-zone climate control, power-adjustable front seats. The interior does look like more of a luxury car. It looks quite comfortable. Ventilation for the front and rear seats, so ventilated seats in the front and the rear, which is not that common. And it has synthetic leather look seats. Now, getting back to that four-wheel drive capabilities, it looks like what I can see, guys. The hybrid version has that low range gearbox, the ability to do that off-roading, but the fully electric version does not have a low range gearbox, and it doesn't have a locking diff, but it does have off-road traction control modes. And apparently that means it'll be kind of similar to the Volkswagen Amarok, the previous generation Volkswagen Amarok, which still can do decent off-roading, but it's not epic. So I hope that gives you a really good overview of this vehicle. I think this is the best overview that I've put together so far of this electric and now plug-in hybrid version as well. I actually think Geely could become the #1 best-selling car brand alongside potentially BYD. BYD and Geely could be probably the two best-selling car brands in Australia within a few years. And then, of course, you've got XPeng with all the models that they're bringing out in Australia, which are really incredibly good as well. I think Chinese car brands are going to take over a massive percentage of the Australian car market. And this vehicle, this Riddara RD6 or Radar RD6, whatever they end up calling it, it could end up being the best-selling vehicle in Australia. And the reason I say that is because Australians love pickup trucks. Pickup trucks are the #1 best-selling car here almost pretty much every single month of the year. This, if it comes in at these prices, absolutely could take that title. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.